about it. Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about
JSpire
it.
Live.
Don't you wanna talk
And
about
now,
it? Let's talk
Miss
about it.
JSpire.
Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Fill Up Friday Live, the late edition. So I hope you guys are following us. And so you knew that we were going to be on late tonight. As I always encourage everyone to practice self-care, spend some time with family, do some things that you need to do. So some things that needed to get done ran over tonight. Hello, Lucy. So we are starting a little late, and so we're not going to be on long. But if you're just joining or you're catching the replay or this is your first time, I am Mrs. JSpire. I am the creator and host of JSpirations Live. And tonight you are tuned in to Fill Up Friday Live. So you may be asking, what is Fill Up Friday Live? So Fill Up Friday is a time where we come together, myself, hopefully some new folks, and our Fill Up Friday faithfuls. We come together to talk about what we filled up on this week, what we needed that we didn't get. To encourage each other, and hopefully by the end of the night, the end of the show, that if we came with our cups half empty, then our cups are full, right? And so it's a time for us to come together and encourage each other. And so, what is a Fill Up Friday Faithful? So, a Fill Up Friday Faithful is someone that joins us every Friday night for this amazing conversation. They comment, they encourage each other, they step up. So we're family, and we would love to have you as a part of our JSpirations Live family, as part of our Fill Up Friday Faithfuls. So I'm not going to keep you guys long tonight because we are starting late. But again, I hope you will catch the replay. So tonight, the topic is simply pause. If you followed us this week, you know I didn't post a lot, but some of the things that I posted, you could probably, tell that this week has been something else. Not anything bad at all, but really just a time of reflection. And I know I always say that, but each, week, every day, I try to take some time to really reflect. And this week, I did it even the more. So let's start with what we posted on Sunday. Well, actually, we posted on Monday. That was our first post for the week. And what we posted was yesterday, a situation happened and I got nervous and frustrated. In my mind, I was thinking, I don't have anyone to help me with this. I started praying. I said, God, I need your direction. As I began to pray, I calmed down. I stopped and God gave me instruction. I already had the tools. I just needed to pause. He worked it out, and I didn't need anyone else's help but his. God has put everything that we need inside of us. We just have to learn to listen for his instructions. So as the week went on, um, I just started to think about how sometimes we get so frustrated, right? Sometimes things come upon us and we just go, I know, like I will just go right into like that fight or flight, right? Hey, Don. I'll go into that flight or fight, right? Where it's just like, oh my goodness, this isn't working well. And I get really frustrated. And sometimes I get frustrated really, really quickly. And so throughout the week, I just had to start reminding myself to pause, to slow down, yes, to trust him, right? That, we say we trust God, we say that he keeps his promises, we say all these things when things are going well. And then when something pops up, something happens in our lives, then, if you're like me, you get frustrated. And so Sunday just reminded me to stop, to pause, and that if I really trust him, then trust him, right? And in that moment, when I began to pray, I really did just calm down, and God allowed me to do what I needed to do to get through that situation. And honestly, it wasn't hard. I was making it hard, right? Because I was nervous, I was frustrated, but it wasn't hard. Once I realized that, listen, you just have to trust him, just listen for God's instructions. And that's what I did. And then as we began just to kind of post throughout the rest of the week, I started thinking about, like, God, what am I going to post? And something happened that morning that like I didn't really think about it. You know how sometimes you see something or you read something and it doesn't really I don't know, like it doesn't really, like, you saw it, but it doesn't really like click, right? And so I saw something that made me think, later on, it made me think of a sunflower. And it made me think about that being my favorite flower. And so I asked you guys to drop a picture of your favorite flower, drop a picture of it into the comments. So y'all, a lot of y'all didn't follow directions because only myself and someone else did it. I mean, you gotta follow directions. But you would say, well, Mrs. JSpire, what was the purpose of that question? What was the purpose of asking us to do that? Well, the purpose was, you think about when people say slow down and smell the flowers, right? Just something as simple as smelling the flowers will give you time to calm down. It'll make you think of sweet things. It makes you think of a different fragrance. It'll make you think about all the things that are good, right? We've talked about before that when things are happening, just to get a song in your heart, right? Get a scripture in your heart, because you can recite those things or sing that like over and over, right? And so it really made me think about like the sunflower, made me think about like all the seeds that it has, right? And the way that it grows, and it grows up and the leaves are so thick, and then you have this beautiful color of yellow, right? That reminds you of sunshine, and it's a sunflower. And I just started thinking about what sunflowers mean to me, right? Just start thinking about it being a beautiful flower, and thinking about when I realized how beautiful it was and when it became my favorite, right? And kind of like, hey, Susan, and what space I was in. So sometimes we just need to find something that's going to bring us something sweet, right? Bring us something fragrant, bring us something that's going to allow us to relax our mind. So even tonight, as you're listening to me, think about what is your favorite flower. And you can drop that into the comments. And when things start to happen in your life, just start thinking about that. Think about how that flower starts as just a little seed, right? Just a little seed, and how the sun and how the water, the rain, how it nurtures it, right? And then it grows into this beautiful flower, for me, into a beautiful sunflower, right? And it looks so beautiful. And it's big, but it wasn't always that way. It too had to wait. It too had to grow, right? And so it looks like Susan put a rose in there, and then Lucy also said a rose as well, right? And a rose, there's songs that's made about roses, that a rose is still a rose. So no matter what, like we say about the butterflies, no matter what stage it's in, it's still a rose, right? Even in the winter time when it's not blooming, right? You can't see the rose petals, but you can still see those thorns. You can still see the rose bush. You know that a rose was there and it's still a rose. And that when it gets warmer and when spring comes, then those roses are going to come back. It's a reminder, right? That yeah, sometimes we're going to have some times where things aren't blooming, right? But it doesn't stop it from being what it is. It's still a flower. It's still a rose. And that rose is going to come back, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's a pink rose or a red rose or a yellow rose. They're all in that rose garden and they're all beautiful and they're all being nurtured by the sun and they're all being nurtured by the water and it's all purposeful, right? Um, so then later on in the week, I just started thinking about how full my mind has been. I don't know about you guys, but like sometimes as soon as my eyes pop open in the morning, like I'm automatically just thinking about things. You guys, like it's like usually a whole lot of things in my head. And so I said, today my mind has been full. I've been thinking about everything and then nothing at the same time. But then it took me back to what I had posted on Monday about just taking the time to pause, right? I'm thanking God that I'm thinking, right? I'm thanking God that my mind is working, but sometimes it feels so full. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed, but the message remains: take time to pause. Take time to think. Take some time to reflect on who God is. Take some time to reflect on who you are in Him. It's called a pause. And I have a hard time doing that, right? Like sometimes I'm just running and I just want to do it. But just pause. Sometimes you just want to do it. Sometimes you just want to get it done. Sometimes you think that you're the only one who can fix it, right? But just take the time to pause and allow God to calm you and allow Him to give you instruction. As we posted, everything that we need, it's already in us. We already have the tools. We just need to listen for the instructions. Just like with the flowers, right? Gardeners have tools, right? They have all types of things to make the garden look beautiful. They have lawnmowers. They have I don't know, what do you call those trowels? They have and I used to work in the garden all the time. They have rakes. They have all these things to make the garden look good. But they have to use instructions because you can't use every tool on every flower. Every flower needs something different. You have to use lopper sometime to do the roses, and then you have to cut them a certain way. You can't cut every flower the same. You can't water every flower to think the same. So we have all these tools, but we have to use the instructions, right? And Susan says you were talking about how my week, listen, and this is the part of Fill Up Friday that I love, when we can come together and we can be transparent and we can say, hey, sis, me too. Right. And that's what it's all about. Like just that encouraging piece to be like, hey, you're not alone. You were not alone this week. You went through some things. I went through some things too. Life isn't perfect, but it's good. Right. And it's good because we know who holds our today. We know who held our yesterday. We know who holds our tomorrow. So we know that we're in good hands. And we know that if we just listen and take the instructions that He gives us, then we're going to be fine. But we have to pause, right? We have the tools. Any of us can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, any of those places and buy tools. But we have to read the directions, right? Or we're going to cut something wrong. We're going to bang something wrong. So just listen to God's instructions. So there's going to be days when your mind's going to be full. And like I said, if you're like me, you're going to just wake up that way. It's the way that I'm wired. My mom, it tells me all the time, girl, like your mind is just full. You go from one thing to the other. And it's true. My mind is always full. But I thank God that I'm learning that I don't allow all those thoughts to overtake me, right? But I'm learning, haven't mastered it, right? And you don't have to, but I'm learning to pause. I'm learning to focus on what's important. Even tonight, I was out doing some things that I needed, with my family that I needed to do. And when it got closer to 8 o'clock, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like I have to be, this place, I have to do Fill Up Friday. And my brain just started thinking, well, maybe you could just cancel it. But no, you already, posted this. But no, and I was excited about talking to you guys. But then I had to stop and I had to pause. I didn't get excited. Simply going to say, hey, we're going to push it back a little bit. And it's okay, right? It's okay to stop and pause and to prioritize, right? So I needed to take care of my family. And you guys are my family as well. But if my family's not healthy, then I can't talk to you guys because all those things start at home. Right. And taking care of myself and taking care of my family and doing what I need to do so I can have it to pour into you all. So when your mind starts to get full, take a pause. Think about what is your favorite flower. Think about why, right? Think about how you feel when you see it, when you smell it, right? When you talk about it. I love talking about sunflowers. And I didn't even know that this was going to come up. And a couple of weeks ago, I ordered a pair of sunflower earrings and I got them in the mail this week. My paparazzi consultant D, she got it to me, and when I opened them up, they actually were not as big as I thought they would be, but they were just right because that sunflower, it made me smile, and I know what it represents for me, just like I know what these butterflies represent. So Susan said, found myself breaking down the other day. If it hadn't been for my daughter talking with me, don't know where I would be right now. Well, you know what? Your daughter needed to be there. God puts people in our lives that we need. And so that's why we always have to be open to those, to sharing when we're not okay. Right? When we say that we're okay and we're not, we're doing ourselves a disservice, right? We don't have to be so strong. We don't have to take care of everything. We don't have to fix everything. That's not what God made us for. We have need of thee, right? The arm needs the leg needs the arm, right? The face needs the eyes, the head needs the ears. Like we need each other, right? So the one thing that we have to start doing as well is learning how to affirm ourselves as well, because someone may not always be there. And that's why we have these tools and we're talking through what can I do to calm myself? What can I do to pause, right? To say, I don't have the capacity for this right now. So you may not be able to do something for someone else. And that's okay. That's where the pause is. That's where knowing I need to slow down. That's where we know that I should slow down and I should listen for the instructions of the one who made me, right? He knows all about us, right? So we have to listen for him to give those instructions. So I'm so glad that she was there to be able to talk it through with you. And I'm so glad that you were transparent enough to say, I'm not okay, right? That I need to have this conversation. I need to share. I need to get this out. And that's growth and that's maturity because life has been hard, right? Lucy says a many member body. So then life can be hard and days can be hard and things happen. We all find ourselves breaking down sometimes, right? Um, so pause. And when we start to get frustrated, like that's what I'm learning, just to pause and be like, okay, I don't have to tackle everything. Um, and then I'm going to talk about this next week because I did post something that Bishop S.Y. Younger posted. And I want to really take some time with that. So we're going to actually probably talk about that either this week. I may do a pop-up or we'll talk about it next week. But I know that it spoke to me. And if you want to go back and look at it, I posted it on Wednesday. And so get ready for it one day this week. I'll probably do a pop-up. And then Thursday, this is where I'm going to stop. But we talked about Thursday, and I said that there are times when my heart feels broken, but there are also times when it smiles real big, right? And to do something to create smiles. And so those are the two things that I want to leave with you tonight. Pause. That's important. That's the first thing. I want you to pause when you begin to get frustrated. I want you to pause when you begin to get overwhelmed. Pause when you feel like you can't make it or you can't do it, because the bottom line is that you can and that you will. And then I want you to create things to make you smile. There are going to be days when our hearts feel broken. There's going to be days when we feel um, like people have then what's the word I'm looking for, betrayed us. There are going to be times where we feel like people aren't helping us, people don't care about us, things aren't going the right way, and so we're going to feel broken, right? But what I'm challenging you to do is to remember that even with that broken heart, sometimes it feels broken, but there's many times where it smiles really big as well. And I want you to purpose it in your heart to do something each day to create those smiles, right? There's so many things for us to be thankful for. We're in this holiday season. Um, and, when we're children, it's all about gifts, right? And Santa and all those things. But as we grow in maturity and we grow in our relationship with God, we know what the season is all about, right? Even though we know He wasn't born, but we know it's man made, we get all that. But it's a time for families to come together. Sometimes it's the only time that families get together, but it's a time for us to really be able to create memories, create smiles, and think about what is really important, right? We've always taught our kids, like, it's not about gifts. It's not about what someone, can give you. It's not your birthday, right? It's about celebrating family, and it's about spending time, and it's about laughter and creating memories. And so I encourage you that we know we have broken hearts, but we also know that that heart is made to smile and to smile real big. So starting today, do something to create big smiles. So I thank you guys so much for coming on late tonight and hanging out with us. Feel my Fill Up Friday faithfuls are here. Lucy, Susan, Don. Can't tell who else is watching. But if you're catching a replay, thank you so much. If you are just peeking in, because I know some people just peek in, they don't click the button to watch, right? Because they don't want people to know they're watching or who's watching. So if you're just peeking in, it's okay, but I hope that you were blessed tonight. I hope that if you came and your cup was empty, hey, Barbara, I love you too. I hope that if you came and you were empty, I hope that you're leaving full, right? And I hope that you will be able to pour into someone else and continue to pour into yourself. And if your weeks are usually hard, come on over to JSpirations Live Fill Up Friday every Friday for Fill Up Friday Live. We would love to have you. We want to be a part of sowing seeds and helping you to fill up. So I love you guys so much. Maybe I will do a pop-up this week. I'll post it so you guys can know. And then, of course, Friday night, we will be right back here. And we may be starting about 8:30. So there may be a change for the next few weeks. I will let you guys know. But I love you. Keep following. Please share the live. Encourage people to come over and get some of this motivation, some of this Jspiration. I love you guys so much. Practice some self-care this weekend. And as always, be Jspired.